No student should have to fear pursuing their dreams.
That was moments ago. We were following breaking news in Las Vegas after a gunman opened fire at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas earlier today. 3 people were killed. Another person was shot and is in stable condition at a nearby hospital. The gunman was killed at the scene. Police tonight say they have identified him, but are not releasing that information until next of kin are notified. NBC News correspondent Emily Akeda is covering this story and joins us live with the latest. Emily, what do we know about what happened there today?
Well, as you mentioned, the news conference literally just wrapping a few minutes ago. The sheriff describing the shooting as a heinous, unforgivable crime. And we're learning that the shooting first broke out on the 4th floor of one of the business school's buildings, and it continued on multiple levels. What police are really underscoring tonight, there is no more ongoing threat to the community in Las Vegas. As you mentioned, 3 people were tragically killed. A 4th person is in stable condition. Earlier today, we knew that individual was considered in critical condition, so that condition has since been upgraded. Several officers had sustained minor injuries as well, but still a lot of unanswered questions. We don't know whether these victims were students, staff, or other people. We don't know the ages or identities of the victims. And one of the things that police underscored tonight is that the death toll could actually have been far worse, pointing out that there have been large gatherings in the area. This is a heavily trafficked portion of this large campus, UNLV. Had detectives not engaged the suspect as quickly as they did, the suspect was struck just outside of the building where the shooting had played out. They say that they know the identity of the suspect, but they're not releasing the name at this time until next of kin is notified. But sources are telling us the shooting suspect is a man in his 60s. To give you a sense, Chris, of just the chaos and confusion that played out earlier today, at one point, campus police had notified and told students and staff on the campus to, quote, run, hide, and fight. Students describing barricading themselves in classrooms, dropping to the floor, staying away from windows as this all played out. And then also in the nearby areas, we saw a ground stop at a major airport. We saw a major highway closed temporarily as well. Now the focus will shift to the why. What led to, what was behind this tragic shooting? President Biden reacting late today, saying, quote, UNLV is the latest college campus to be terrorized by a horrific act of gun violence. And this is a city, Las Vegas is a city that is all too familiar with mass shootings. Remember, just a few years ago in 2017, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history played out just 3 miles from this campus on the Las Vegas Strip. Chris?
Emily Akeda, thank you so much for that report. Really appreciate it. Jason Johnson's a professor of politics and journalism at Morgan State University and MSNBC political contributor. He joins me now. And Jason, you are at Morgan State, which had a shooting, I believe, earlier this year in the spring.
Well, it was just about 6-7 weeks ago.
6-7 weeks ago. And that's right. And you have a sense of what it's like day 2, day 3, week 4, week 5, the reverberations of something like this on campus.
They are massive. And I'm not just talking about sort of the increased security that you have for a while. The psychological effect on the students is immense. Most of them are still processing being out of the house for the first time. What is it to be safe in my dorm? What is it to be safe when I'm walking around a campus when I've been shot at? I have to mention, I spent a lot of this afternoon looking at TikTok of students here. There's a kid I saw named Jordan Lockett. I think I have his name properly. And literally with a TikTok saying, I left Chicago violence to go to UNLV thinking I'd be safe, and imagine having shootings like that here. So that's the kind of experience people have. Even on my campus where no one actually died, what you have is students, they're afraid to go to class. They're concerned. I keep telling people we forget that these are pandemic babies, right? For them, getting outside has been rough after being locked down for 2 years. And so there needs to be immense effort on campus for the psychological, emotional impact on the students and then the faculty. Because the adults are processing this. I am processing it on my own campus in a very different way than my students.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, I mean, I've been to the UNLV campus. It's a big, open, sort of public space in an urban environment.
Right.
Morgan State is in Baltimore and is also sort of embedded in the framework of the city. And one of the great things about campuses is that they are big, open public spaces, right? To the extent that you begin to garrison them, you take away precisely the thing that makes them such an amazing space to be in. And that, you know, you don't want to see that happen either. But of course, these calculations in the mass shooting era are ones that all sorts of institutions have to make.
One of the biggest issues that students talk about all the time on any campus around America is the militarization of the police and sense of protection, sense of unity. But here's the thing. If you have a mass shooter, the police do have to go dorm by dorm. Yeah. They do have to make sure no one's being held hostage. And there's no amount of security that you can't put a dome around a campus, right? And that's the real fear.
Or any other part of American life.
Any other part of American life.
Thing that we've learned when we've seen shootings in elementary schools, this sort of effort to harden the targets of schools. But fundamentally, there are going to be, in a democratic society, open spaces in which people congregate.
And you have to have those open spaces for people to return to normalcy. But this is one thing, Chris, I want everybody to understand, even when they're looking at the story, as they're hugging their kids and checking on their students and thinking of their own sort of experiences on campus, the reason behind the violence is not going to provide much security or peace.
None.
We're going to find out why this person did it, but it doesn't change how people are going to feel in a week. It doesn't change the number of students who don't want to take finals right now and the number of kids who may not want to come back in the spring.
This point about motive is such an important one, because there's always some sense that if you're going to open up the box and inside is going to be some explanation. And having covered that mass shooting in Las Vegas, the largest in American history, there was nothing inside the box as far as we can tell.
No.
It was mass murder at a sort of inconceivable scale, done for reasons that remain opaque. And even if there were reasons, what does it do? It doesn't provide for the people that have been through this, who are processing the trauma, any kind of comfort.
No sort of peace for them. And I want to also point out this. Death is one particular thing that people fear, but injury is true as well. There's someone, you can be shot in the arm, you're still traumatized. That may be somebody who you went to class with. So we have to recognize that it's not just about death and violence, it's about a sense of safety and how we turn that.
All right, Jason Johnson, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.